Why hello again everyone and welcome once again to the Tom Colohue channels, where today we are watching ourselves some WWE Smackdown. Now last week Smackdown hit a pretty good high, certainly one of the better episodes or installments depending on your preference since the draft, at which point it all switched to Raw being awesome and you realise maybe it's not Roman, maybe it's more Seth, but we are where we are. Last week, basically what I'm trying to say, was good. Will this week follow up? There has been a quick change on the agenda. Instead of it being Sasha Banks versus Zelina Vega one-on-one, and then for the next few weeks they'd be continuing the rotation of that, we now have the actual match that was planned for WrestleMania. The current women's tag champions, Carmella and Zelina Vega, will take on Sasha Banks and Naomi as we build towards a match at WrestleMania that now features Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley as well. In addition to that, we see another opportunity for Sheamus and Ridge Holland going up against the New Day, a fight over a JTB? Over a little car. Doom Buggy, I believe we call them over here in the UK. Jay Quick's already in the chat. Welcome, Jay Quick. How you doing, mate? And as usual, we are doing ourselves a watch party. We are getting live reactions, and we're doing what we always do, which is kind of focusing on the content. Let's be completely honest. We'll cover a lot of what's going on in the good old world of SmackDown. You'll get my live reactions to everything going on. But we're also going to be talking nerd stuff, weird stuff, and the collection of strange off-topic features that we always end up doing. This is definitely one for the regulars rather than one for new viewers. And honestly, if you're a regular, I'd imagine you're very much looking forward to that element of it. Megan is here as well, saying hello there. Hello, Megan. How are you? And we have a Sean Cena saying hi, Tom. Firstly, Sean, I want to say a quick thank you to yourself for jumping into Ed streams recently. I saw your name all over his 2K22 stream, which was always fun. Always good to see someone in this channel helping someone else grow, and I appreciate you. SmackDown is opening with another recap of Madison Square Garden. Kind of suggests to me that Brock Lesnar might not be there because they're showing more recaps of the guy. Sean says SmackDown isn't on for me on Fox. It's a high school basketball game. Ooh. Okay. Definitely not what I'm seeing. Okay, Megan. Hello there. That's the best you're getting. I'd imagine that's the exact line you were expecting. Because, let's be fair, when someone says Obi-Wan, that's basically all you've got. Sean says, appreciate you even though you're a Slytherin. You should appreciate me because I'm a Slytherin. Slytherins are just the best. Imagine for a moment being a Gryffindor. You are brave, but have no ambition. So you're dumb. Imagine being a Ravenclaw. You are smart, but have no ambition. So you're lazy. Imagine being a Hufflepuff. Just in general. What would you do with that? Ambition's where it's at. I'm telling you. Slytherins are where it's at. Brock Lesnar is indeed here and opening the show. Earlier during spoiler warning, I did say I expected him to be there. After all, he's slowly running down the full date list on his contract. There's only so many times he can skip work. He's there with the WWE Championship, which is not featured on Raw for a while. Looking pissed, and also still wearing a great hat. One thing I did forget to mention earlier that I want to mention now is that at some point on TikTok, Ed has made a request of me for a stream involving a unicorn onesie. If you don't have TikTok, you won't have seen me in the unicorn onesie. But let's just say there is a unicorn onesie in my house right now. So I threw that on. Because it was cozy one night. Ed would like to know when we're doing a unicorn onesie stream. Just for you, Ed, I'm going to make that an achievable target. When we first get the channel memberships live, I'll set us a goal between channel memberships and Twitch subs. Between them, once we reach a certain amount, it'll be double figures, nowhere near triple figures, and not single figures. I will do a spoiler warning in a unicorn onesie. Because why the hell not? Moxie is here, says acknowledge me as your tribal chief. No, Roman only, mate, Roman only. We've only got one tribal chief. And Megan says, doing well, thank you. Hope you are as well. I'm doing very well, thank you. Megan says, who dare speak against Slytherin? Slytherins? Slytherin? Slytherin? Who is this heathen? Sean says, I believe Hermione was supposed to be a Ravenclaw but got sorted into a Gryffindor. Yeah, she didn't want to go to Ravenclaw. I think she wanted to avoid being a cliche, which is fair. She wouldn't have been considered special in Ravenclaw. She'd have just been normal. Moxie says, at WrestleMania, the WWE Champion, Tom Colohue. That ain't me, mate. That's Brock Lesnar. Although I understand why you get confused. Will acknowledge the Universal Champion Tribal Chief, Moxie. Still just the one Tribal Chief. Still Roman Reigns. Solid chant for Lesnar as we start our stream. Cheap pop from Brock Lesnar. Wow. What a world we live in. Wolf Gamer says, a stream in a unicorn onesie sounds awesome. Sounds ridiculous. In that Tom Colohue way. You know? I think you know. We had a lot of great promos last week. Interested to see what Brock's got. Brock's getting watted. He's not going to like that. Take your hat off, Brock. We might be able to see it. He's been watted. The face run is over. He doesn't seem confident in his delivery today. But he's here for blood. I'm there for it. Ooh. Oh. He threw away the WWE Championship. Pat McAfee is desperately trying to find it again. So that championship is respected. Vince is not going to be happy with Brock. Well, at least they're not saying what anymore. This is not a good promo. I think the chance got to Brock a little bit. Megan says, if anyone is getting acknowledged besides Tom and Ed, it would surely be me. Well, we acknowledge a queen. Sean says, Bayley just tweeted, free agent with a gif of herself with both titles. Yeah. It's funny because I'd imagine over the next few weeks, let's say 2 weeks from now, you're going to start seeing a lot of reports about, oh, Bayley may reappear on Raw. Because you've never heard that anywhere else. Megan says, at least this time he didn't throw the belt at Vince. That's true. That's fair. Simon says, any updates on Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe has offers in every direction. He's taking his time, picking his choice. This is 100% a fake out by Paul Heyman, and you can tell. Roman Reigns not here. Roman Reigns is not here. Wolf Gamer says he tossed that WWE Championship into the third row. Yeah, and that's the actual WWE Championship. Pat McAfee is desperately trying to get that back. That's the actual one. I think he was supposed to toss it at McAfee. He did not succeed. Brutal from Brock. I like how Brock and Roman have essentially traded nights. Roman was here last week, and Brock wasn't. Now they've swapped. Megan says, R.I.P. Pat McAfee's ears, because you just know Vince is screaming at him right now. Oh yeah. Lesnar chasing Paul Heyman is a good graphic to finish on. But him throwing away that championship, that's the whole thing. Oh, bloody hell. Okay. Oh, little tap. Little receipt there from Brock. Little jab. And Paul Heyman is fleeing. He is running for his life. The promo was not great. That segment was quite fun. I believe Pat McAfee has reclaimed the championship. I didn't see the stitches, just to be clear. He needed to take his hat off. It shouldn't have been difficult. Okay, that's unopen to SmackDown. Pat McAfee does the pencil flip. Wolf Gamer says RIP those security guards. Yeah, they've had a rough time. They had a rough time. Jermaine says, hey Tom, this is a really good start to tonight's show. I wasn't a fan of the promo, Jermaine, but I like what they did at the end of that. I also can't stop thinking about the fact that that WWE Championship might be gone forever. It looks like we are going to open with the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I definitely expect the New Day to be featuring in a tag title race, as it were, for WrestleMania. It's hard to think of the New Day not being involved in something championship level. So is this a way of getting Sheamus and Ridge Holland into the championships, tag championship section as well? Hard to tell. Hard to tell. Ridge Holland is still wearing the mask, which is kind of cool. Both trying to take up the sledgehammer gimmick that Triple H made famous. Domain says, why do Ridge Holland look like Kato from the Green Hornet? It's a mask, mate. It's a mask. Well, the mask and the hat, I feel. Megan Moran asking really smart questions. Is that why you brought the hammers? They've just told you they're going to smash things up. What do you expect? Such bad scripting. Oh, okay. They brought someone along. What's his name? Pete Dunne! Have you seriously called him Butch? That's not his name. Right, so Xavier Woods is back. Gotta balance that out somehow. The call-ups are coming. It's Pete Dunne. Have they seriously renamed him Butch? Because I don't like that. This is a great combination of people, though. This faction's amazing. I'm kind of getting behind this a lot more than I expected. Hello, John Misenberg. Welcome to the show, mate. Megan says, hey, it's the new toy set ATV Smash with Ridge and Sheamus. Well, Butch as well, to be fair now. Oof. Wolf Gamer says, in the smashing gimmick Roman smashes people. Roman doesn't smash things. He has people. Moxie also says they changed his name to Butch. Yeah, that sucks, don't it? I'm willing to ignore it. In fact, I'm just going to put that out there. I'm willing to ignore the name. That's a complete mistake. Ignore the name change from Pete Dunne to Butch, because what a faction we now have. This is just going to be brutality all over this shop. Pete Dunne is already trending. Ah, good stuff. Sometimes you don't gotta be so fancy, you know. Jermaine says, I miss Kayla Braxton. They really made this other girl look stupid with the questions that she asked. Kayla Braxton, I feel the advantage that they had with her was Paul Heyman scripting. Paul Heyman does not script Megan Morant, unfortunately. Ooh, Sean says, in your opinion, who is the best Joker? Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, or Joaquin Phoenix? I liked Jack Nicholson, that was my first Joker, but I do feel that Heath Ledger just nailed the character. Everything was perfect. Everything was perfect for that Heath Ledger character. And I've got a hi, how are you from someone who may well be a bot. Advertising a new movie that I'm definitely not going to see. So it's a solid start. We have a Pete Dunne added to the faction. I avoided any spoilers that may or may not have been available. Which meant you definitely got a genuine moment of shock from me. John says limb manipulation all over the place with this new edition. Absolutely. All three of them are good at that. They like the joint. Manipulation. I do miss Dunn and Riddle. Moxie says Sasha Banks is trending, isn't she always? And Wolfgamer says I liked Mark Hamill's Joker from Batman the Animated Series. Troy Baker also didn't do a bad job. But I think not enough is said about the writing. Like, you've got different people who are playing it in different ways. But I feel if you gave Joaquin Phoenix Heath Ledger's role, wouldn't work. Absolutely would not work. And Jared Leto just had bad writing. I think he could have been a very, very good Joker. Just had bad writing. You go ahead, Megan. I'm not gonna overquote it myself. Just say, what was the reason? What was the reason, though? What was the reason? Also, as a fellow nerd, Megan, who's your favourite Joker? I've taken to calling my partner a massive dork on the basis that they are a massive dork. We get to be dorks together. One of the reasons I love this chat so much and the watch parties that we do is because we're all just massive nerds, massive geeks and massive dorks. And that's how it should be. Jermaine says Heath Ledger's Joker was an anarchist. Other Jokers are more criminal, more mob related. Heath Ledger's Joker just wants to see the world burn. For me, the Joker is an anarchist. That is what I wanted. That's what I've always wanted. Simon says, what segment is the Sasha tag team match in? I would imagine that's going to be our draw segment tonight. Knowing that Roman is not there, Sasha Banks immediately becomes the #1 draw in the company. Megan says, Mark Hamill. Something about his energy that tips it over the edge for me over Heath Ledger. I've seen some of Batman the Animated Series. I'm always surprised by how adult it actually is. But to be fair, I've also seen Dark Crystal with Mark Hamill. Oh my god. He is so good. Are they seriously just calling him Butch though? I mean, they're giving him a hat. Moxie, you're not wrong. Sasha has tapped out Charlotte. I don't know if she was necessarily first, but she was certainly early in the run. Jermaine says Sheamus' group looks like the group from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I think that's the plan. I think that's very much the plan. And I think we're going to see Xavier Woods return today. I no longer think this is going to be a tag team thing. I think we're going to get a 6-man tag at WrestleMania featuring these two teams. Sheamus leading a faction of people brand new to the brand, essentially. We're off and we have a pretty solid New Day Rocks chant happening. Sean says Mark Hamill was a trickster in the Flash TV series. I've not seen the Flash. Wolfgang says I think John DiMaggio did pretty well as Joker in Under the Red Hood. John DiMaggio is a very, very talented man. It does not surprise me that he would do a good turn as the Joker. Megan says no real shock. Wrestling Twitter has been very calm about the name change. Are they? Are they? And Simon says Asuka, Paige, Natalya, Sasha have all tapped out Charlotte in the past. Jermaine says I wonder if WWE is going to make note that Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne were part of Pat McAfee's faction NXT. Interesting. Interesting. Certainly could be telling about what happens next at WrestleMania. And John says I'm all for that 6-man tag if that is the plan. I'd be excited for that. It's not something I've heard. This is in no way a report. just looking at what they're doing now, it makes sense. Honestly, wrestling the New Day is always a positive. Not a great position for Big E, to be honest. He's dropped down the card a little bit in order to make that happen. He was WWE Champion 4 months ago. He was WWE Champion 3 months ago. Do you remember Big E was WWE Champion? Do you remember? Do you remember? I don't always remember. Sometimes with me and Big E, it feels like we're just back to where we were beforehand. Sheamus recently came out, of course, and said that he would be very disappointed in the WWE if he wasn't featured. He feels that would be the WWE making a mistake. I agree, he is a big name and should be treated as such. Big E just throwing his man around. Just tossing him in every direction. Always great to see. If you're currently watching this show on YouTube, please consider hitting that like button. A little thumbs up can make a massive difference to my growth and my show. I always seem to have slightly more viewers than I do likes, and I do very much appreciate it as it helps our growth. And if you haven't done so yet, please also consider hitting that subscribe button. We have just hit 1,030 subscribers, and we are hoping to continue growing as we move into our new monetized era. Just by watching today, you are helping me grow and helping me earn myself a living. So thank you for doing so. Big E with the overhead belly to belly on Sheamus. A lot of back and forth at the moment. Nothing particularly fancy, but I'm fine with it. Megan says Big E being champion is one of my happy places. Well, thankfully it wasn't too long ago. We can always have that moment of... This is a really high-paced match. I'm expecting another commercial break at some point soon, I'll tell you that. Big E missed his shot, he's on the outside. Sheamus with the knee, putting Big E down. This is feeling like commercial break. They're posing as commercial break. Brendan Richardson, welcome to the show, mate. Says, can't wait for Stone Cold. Stone Cold will be back. He will feature at WrestleMania in a segment with Kevin Owens. If you want more news on what that segment is going to entail, you can always watch my video from earlier on today. Spoiler warning, did feature more details on Cody Rhodes, on Stone Cold Steve Austin, and on Sasha Banks. Wolfgamer says, gotta feature the hard Irish bastard known as Sheamus. Indeed. Absolutely. As a man with some Irish blood, and just British in general as well, I gotta say, I got a soft spot for Sheamus. Also, I don't think I'll ever forget Ice Shamey. I don't think anyone should ever forget Ice Shamey. I think you've just got to accept the fact that Ice Shamey is something that happened. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Sean Cena says, do you see Santos Escobar beating Cameron Grimes to be a part of the ladder match for the North American title of Stand and Deliver? I do. I think Santos Escobar is one of those who are on the way out sooner rather than later, and I think he's done very, very well in the cruiserweight division and is ready to take a step up. Meanwhile, Cameron Grimes has been doing character work, and with this in mind, I don't think he needs to be in and around championships. I just think he needs good feuds. Ladder matches not really always doing the job for that. Jermaine Presley says, let's get WWE credit for a sneaky call-up of a Pete Dunne, even if they're calling him Butch. Hey, I mean, if the news didn't come out before time, they've done well, considering someone in the production team leaks everything to Fightful before every show. Like, they put it on select, so it's paywall. This is one of the times when I agree with a paywall when it comes to spoilers like these, because you need to consciously make the choice. But still, you know, so much gets leaked nowadays. So much. So we're approaching the end of the first half hour. Opening promo, not great. Section with Brock Lesnar just running after Paul Heyman backstage. beating up more security guards. That was great. Debut of quote-unquote hashtag Butch. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So far, SmackDown doing alright. I'm willing to say I'm okay with it. Megan says the name Butch makes me think of the boys though, which isn't really a bad thing. Absolutely not. June 3rd, I believe, is season 3, Megan. Correct me if I'm wrong. I am very excited for it. Very excited. Name change is bad though, so I'm ignoring it. It's a bad name change. We already know Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne has already debuted on the main roster. He beat up Enzo. If anyone can remember that. During the UK tour, he came out and just beat up Enzo right after WrestleMania. Good times were had. Butch ain't great. Megan says, you're not wrong. Jubilee Bank Holiday, Friday, June 3rd. I'm a binge the hell out of that show. If anyone has not watched The Boys yet, find a way to watch just the first 10 minutes. You ain't gonna stop. You're gonna watch it all. I love a show that just lays out in that first 10 minutes, this is what we're about. Megan says, I remember that because they played the wrong Tron when Kurt Angle came out. Ooh. Ooh. Rich Holland has checked on Big E. Just quickly communicated there what was needed. Kofi's been tagged in. The stage seems to be set. We're going to get a good match here. We've had a good match already. Pete Dunne will eventually interfere, cost New Day the match. And either they'll stand tall and Xavier Woods will come back next week, or they'll have themselves a beatdown, and then in we go. Megan says, season 3 trailer is coming in the next day or so. Ooh. I have a soft spot for so many characters in that. Primarily Homelander. Like, he's so evil. He's so evil, he brings out the bi in me. You know when someone's that evil? Like, Megan, surely you get this. Surely anyone else with any attraction to men completely understands what I mean. The evil just brings out the bi in me. Sean Cena says, I think Supernatural actor Jensen Ackles will be on season 3 of The Boys. See, for me, I've never really watched much Supernatural. For me, he's still Dark Angel actor Jensen Ackles. Would love a replay of what happened there from Rich Holland. We're not really seeing much of Big E after that drop. We seem to be wrapping up the match. Butch looked like he was... There he is. Getting involved. Giving Sheamus an opportunity here. I think they rushed the finish there. Pat McAfee will not take his eyes off Big E. I think they rushed the finish there. Butch taking an opportunity to get a beat down on Kofi. Sheamus and Rich Holland pulling him away. So the faction is built on we love to fight. Like I'm not upset with that. Sheamus can't control his man. Pete Dunne just wants to beat people down. I think that's a rushed finish. I would like to get someone to check on Big E. I am concerned. We have not seen any of Big E since. Getting a recap from Raw. Megan says, if anything happens to Huey, I will go to war. I'd say the same for Maeve, but she can look after herself just fine. Maeve can look after herself just fine. That's that. Okay, it was a very brief replay just basically saying Steve Austin's going to be there, and he is going to be there. Again, for more news on that, you can always check out my video from earlier on today. Wolfgamer says, when I hear Butch, I think of the rowdy rough boys from the Powerpuff Girls. I don't recall those. For me, it's just Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That just keeps playing in my head. Jermaine says, well, Tom, you're not lying. Looks like we're going to get a 6-man tag at WrestleMania. Just make it anything goes type match. Oh, I'd be down for that. I'd be very down for that. Wolfgamer says, I think Cole said something about Big E getting medical attention at ringside. You could see immediately something had gone wrong. Immediately that something had gone wrong. Okay, well, I've got a commercial break. Just going to put out good wishes. Hoping for the best for Big E there. That looked like a rough landing. And I hope he's okay. And fit. Ready for the 6-man tag. Actually, no, I'm... And fit ready for WrestleMania. Yeah, don't make it about anything else. Telling myself off there. Sean says, did anyone see the live stream of 2K22? Alexa, Liv and Shelton were there. Shelton's being involved in looks like he's going to be involved in Up, Down, Down going forwards alongside Shayna Baszler and Ricochet. Seems like they've built a good new crew for Xavier Woods. It's just whether or not he wants to go through with it. Up, Down, Down needs new people to create content, and they need people like Shayna, like Shelton, and like Ricochet to make that happen. As regards Alexa Bliss, Alexa has actually been on Up, Down, Down a lot. And honestly, I've been very entertained by her Dungeons and Dragons appearances, for example. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. Jermaine says, The Boys is one of the best shows on Amazon Prime, and Homelander is the biggest a-hole in superhero history. Oh. He's perfect. He's perfect. Just everything I wanted in it, in a superhero. That's all I'll say. So we've wrapped up our first quarter at SmackDown. And so far it's gone well. Strong match, strong debut, moderately good opening segment. I'm not sure we're going to see any more of Brock, but we had a good start. Sean says, does anyone know if Peacemaker is good? Haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited to. Clips I've seen have been positive. Reviews I've seen have been positive. I'm excited. I'm quite excited to actually get into it. And Megan said, the show also reignited my love for Carl Urban. He is one fine-looking man. What accent is he trying to do? Because they say he's British. He's not. In no way. In no way is that a British accent. He's still a beautiful man. And I like that he's always gruff and angry. But, no. What are you trying to say? I don't understand this attempted accent. I still think the best part of the Boys so far has been the peanut allergy. We have a whole load of different media outlets reporting on the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin. They always feature Forbes. They always do that. They just show teasers a match. We're going to cover a bit on Seth Rollins. We're getting a hype package for a Raw match on SmackDown. I'm not a big fan of that, but they don't have a roster, so it kind of makes sense. I'm also a big fan of the fact that Kevin Owens just takes the piss out of the whole stupendous branding. Absolutely right. Wolf Gamer says, I gotta say, I'm so hyped for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Watched the teaser trailer at least 50 times since its release. Now, I'm one of the few people who was not a big fan of The Mandalorian. I didn't really enjoy it. So with the whole Star Wars TV series section, not that exciting for me. Not that exciting for me, but you know, it'll do. It'll do. I'm sure a lot of people are going to really enjoy it. So I will step out of the way for that one. Megan says it's hilarious that he's trying to be Cockney. It's also even more hilarious that John Noble, an Aussie, plays Butcher's dad. Yeah, I know, right? Sergio said at this point brand supremacy is dead. Raw is definitely in the brand supreme. We're going to get to see Steve Austin's Twitter clip, which he definitely produced in one day. He says, if there's one official response here, it always involves a lot of cameras. There's one thing we pride Steve Austin on, it's his editing skills. This is a very standard Austin promo. Oh, he even moves his hands in the same way. Paul Heyman always said the reason he was drawn to Steve Austin is pure intensity. Just pure intensity. One last can of whoop ass. This is the Austin goodbye. Simon is talking about a tag team of Natalya and Shayna now. I did mention that a little bit earlier as well, as I felt that was the most likely partner for Natalya. Megan says, have you seen the Diabolical cartoons yet? They got Simon Pegg to voice Huey in an episode. I have not. Makes sense though. I mean, Simon Pegg was his dad. Flash is his dad? I can't really remember. Jermaine says Sasha Banks and Xavier Woods are both nominated for Kids' Choice Awards, which takes place on April 9th. Good choices, I feel. Good choices. Michael Cole is corpsing. Michael Cole is corpsing, and Pat McAfee will not let him rest. Are we not going to get an update on the WWE Championship? He literally just threw it away. Are we seriously getting another recap? We're getting another recap. Ah, Sami Zayn. A recap of last week with Sami Zayn. This is an important recap, I feel, primarily just to help Ricochet get slightly more over. Just a little bit extra, just to help him along the way. I know it's mainly going to be about Johnny Knoxville, that's a fact. But it's always good to put a little bit more heat behind the people you're actually trying to care about. Sean says, love Stone Cold. Big fan when I was growing up. I hope it's just a segment. Don't want him wrestling. I don't want him wrestling either. I don't think he wants him wrestling either. Sean says, do you think they should have gotten Brock versus Austin? No, if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. What are they nominated for? Teen Choice Award. Or Kids Choice Award, I should say. I think it's just a popularity contest, to be honest. Kayla Braxton taking great joy in saying the former Intercontinental Champion, which Sami Zayn immediately picks up on, and will now base his entire promo around. Megan says, I really hope Big E's okay. Looked again at the clip and it looks like Big E landed right on his head. Saw that immediately. I saw that immediately and it did not look good. They're doing... Yep. They're showing Johnny Knoxville with his plane saying call Sami Zayn. I'm guessing this means Johnny Knoxville isn't going to be there this week. Just to be clear, Sami did get a burner phone for this purpose. It does go directly to him, but he will eventually just get rid of the phone. Very temporary situation. Simon says Sasha is for best female athlete, Xavier is for best social media, John Cena and The Rock for best male actor. On the Nick Kids' Choice Awards, already voted for Sasha a few times, says Simon. Well, certainly if we're able to vote, I'll certainly go wrestler-wise. Ghost says a lot of recaps tonight. Well, it hasn't been bad so far. If Roman is truly off the show, it won't be too eventful. That's true, and we have only had 15 minutes of wrestling so far in 45. Need a bit more now. Wolf says, check Twitter, and according to fans there, he was taken out on a stretcher and Big E gave a thumbs up. Hopefully we'll learn more soon. Hopefully we'll learn more. Overhead belly to bellies are not easy. You have to get the height. Sami Zayn has confirmed that Johnny Knoxville is not going to be there tonight. Sami wants his championship back. Could it be that Ricochet will not get the push? Drew McIntyre is on his way down to the ring. I'm feeling more confident now that Sasha is going to be our draw segment. Megan says, get the tables, just called the number on their stream right now. Mailbox full, message played. I mean, that's just good work. That is good work. Ed says, did I miss anything? You did, Ed. You did. Big E may be a little bit hurt. Looks like he landed on his head in the Madcap Moss style. Drew McIntyre is about to take part in a 6-man tag match. Who's he going to tag with? Viking Raiders? That doesn't work out. Who else does Corbin and Moss hate? Also, who would actually work with Corbin and Moss? Probably won't be Corbin. Corbin doesn't wrestle much anymore. Who's it going to be? McIntyre and the Raiders. Oh, they've just thrown Jinder Mahal in there. Alright. Samus says the Sasha match tonight changed 3 times today. Yeah, the plan is still very much to add more teams to make it a multi-team women's tag team championship match at WrestleMania. There is more information on that in the show earlier on today, which you can always check out because, yeah, a lot of that information is there. Sean says, if Roman isn't there, do you think the Usos are there? They should be there, yes. The Usos should still be there. They don't actually travel together all that much. It's worth pointing out. Got a 2K trailer. It's just a whole load of commercials at this point. Sergio says, that's random, but okay. It is okay. Of course, the thing worth pointing out is that now Ronda Rousey's back, Shayna might be working her way onto the WrestleMania card. Interesting that, isn't it? As we're heading towards the end of our first hour of SmackDown, which so far has been very recap heavy, can I just suggest that if you're watching on YouTube, please consider hitting that little thumbs up. can make a big difference to our individual growth here. And of course, if you haven't done so yet, please click subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, consider hitting follow as well. You'll get a notification every time we go live. Sean said, possible Shayna wins a Battle Royal at WrestleMania? Possible, yes. But I don't think she'll be in the Battle Royal. I think she'll be in the Women's Tag Team Championship match. I'm pretty sure that will be why we're seeing them tonight. Megan says, Shayna better win something, everything, as far as I'm concerned. I think with Rousey there, the opportunities available for Shayna are about to skyrocket. And I mean that. This is someone who retired Nia Jax, retired Eva Marie, and then they just sort of forgot she existed again. It's not good enough. Ghost says, hate to be that person, but I'll be that person. Considering AEW had an extremely eventful week, I would hope that we have more Mania matches or implications announced, but I guess that's not the case. It isn't. To be entirely blunt based on this, the fact that AEW had a great week will mean nothing to WWE. Nothing at all. Nothing in the slightest. Wolfgamer says, oh, I just remembered another person I think of when I hear Butch Gilzean from the TV series Gotham, another one I haven't actually seen. DC has never really caught my attention, I've got to be honest. Maybe Peacemaker will change my mind entirely. Maybe I'll change forever. Who can tell? You are currently watching Tom Colohue. We are currently watching WWE Smackdown. We are about to have a 6-man tag match. Drew McIntyre teaming with the Viking Raiders. Again, I think this is the third time we've seen this particular 6-man selection. Against Baron Corbin, Madcap Moss, and Jinder Mahal. I would be very surprised if Baron Corbin tags in when Drew McIntyre is in play. Jinder Mahal, I feel, is there to take the pin. He's been the SmackDown jobber for a while now. Moxie says, Shayna squashed Nia Jax. Do they know how hard it is to even beat Nia Jax? Well, it actually was very hard. Nia Jax was rarely squashed, I'll tell you that. And Megan said she destroyed people in the Elimination Chamber, eliminated 5 people in a row in the 2020 Rumble, which she should have won. She was planned to. She was planned to, and I was lucky enough to be able to report that back on day. Megan says, Scottish and Vikings. Looks like my 23andMe results. Indeed. McAfee's mic isn't working. Oh, yeah, this changes things. The Viking Raiders are getting destroyed backstage. There are 3 people on one, and then Baron Corbin solo is beating up Eric. Looks like Drew McIntyre does not have backup anymore. He's going back there to pick a fight. Teammates or no, he wants to kick someone in the face. Mahal and Shanky here to get beat up. Get back to Happy Corbin's theme. Madcap Moss goes overhead. But McIntyre is taking his eye off the ball. Baron Corbin is frozen on the ramp. He's taking his hat off. And finds an opportunity. He wasn't backing down there, Corbin. He was not backing down. It is a 4-on-1 beatdown, continuing the build to their WrestleMania match. Sergio says, Austin Theory going to make an appearance for his feud against Pat McAfee. I found that unlikely, but not impossible. Megan says, although it actually said Norwegian and Finnish rather than Viking. Same thing. And Ghost says, a lot of people are getting jumped tonight. They are, aren't they? They are. This isn't very much a wrestling show as if you keep watching, we might have a WrestleMania show. Feels a bit go home. I mean, it's improving the build. Bit of variation with it. It's nice to see Baron Corbin take an opportunity and stand tall. So far it's been all Drew McIntyre this feud. Even now he's not really selling. Moss, please stop screaming. Are we going to get a 3-2-1 in the end of days? No, McIntyre's going to fight his way out of it. I don't know why he wasn't selling. Corbin flees. And Drew gets to beat down everybody. Michinoku driver on Shanky. I thought they were doing the overhead. I would have enjoyed it. Megan says, this is still giving me rage on a stag do energy. You're not wrong. They're literally picking up strays now. Oh. Oh, looks like Shanky's going to get shanked. That's a good line. That's a good line. Proud of myself for that. And Sean says, 4-on-1 beatdown. Where's the Shield to end this injustice? It's a shame Roman's not there tonight. He would definitely help. Wolfgamer says, that yell laugh from Moss is annoying as hell. I can hear it in my headphones and they're supposed to be noise cancelling. I can't stand it. But it's starting to get to a point where it's like the Iconics. I hated the Iconics. They were that good. Madcap Moss, I'm kind of starting to respect it. Starting to. Looks like our next recap is going to be the Charlotte Flair Ronda Rousey section. We've still only had one actual wrestling match. If we're getting a recap of Charlotte versus Ronda, chances are we're about to get a Charlotte-Ronda promo, which means that's our draw segment. Now hopefully that means Sasha is our main event. But I expected this to be the main event. I expected Charlotte and Ronda to be our main event. I'm sorry, but Charlotte theme's a proper bop. Like, I feel no shame on this. It'd be a bop. But it's another recap, isn't it? Simon says, there's a really cool video circulating on Twitter of people, non-pro wrestling fans, recognise Sasha as Koska Reeves from Star Wars The Mandalorian. Yep, that happens. Sasha Banks is going mainstream, bit by bit. Moxie says, Rhea should have helped Drew. Wrong brand, mate, wrong brand. Drew can help himself, he doesn't need nobody to protect him. He don't need no woman. So is the whole point of this recap to show that Charlotte Flair did a visible tap? Because she did. I'm a big fan of the ankle lock. The Kurt Angle way was always better. Ken Shamrock didn't do a bad job. But the Kurt Angle way was always better. They're really pushing into this this tap thing. And a big fake cheer for Ronda. Ronda Rousey is our draw segment. And she gets a pretty big cheer. One person just focused on the crowd was like, boo! That's a big pop. Girl says no, no, no to the Charlotte Ronda promo. Team Becky Belair for the main event since day one at this point. This is Ronda and Charlotte trying to prove that they deserve the main event. I don't feel they've done so, personally. Megan is enjoying the sound of Rhea and Drew. I want the match, Megan. I want the match. Yep, our draw segment is promos between Rousey and Flair, which at least means it's very, very likely that Sasha Banks main events. Wolf Gaming says Rhea would help Drew, then beat his ass afterwards. That's how you start a feud, guys. That's how you start a feud. I want Rhea versus Drew in a feud. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want a one and done. I want it to last. Sean says a friend just tweeted, people only cheer Ronda because she is facing Charlotte. They don't, but it certainly helps. Like, you know, it doesn't hurt. Life 2005 says, hi, how are you? I'm well, thank you. Thank you for immediately speaking about my physical appearance. You don't look like a troll at all. Megan says, yes, the match. That's what I meant. Obviously. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Ghost says, imagine Rhea and Drew versus Bianca and Big E. Then in all caps he says, well, they say, fire. Fire. I mean, I'd like it. I just like the idea of Rhea and Drew as a team. Any team with that connection, I'm good for. Now, my concern is that so far Ronda Rousey has not been delivering the promos that we expected. And what I mean by that is that, how to say this? They're bad. They're bad. Jermaine says, I don't understand why they push this angle about she never made me tap. Also for crap when we already know that Charlotte's tapped out in the past. She has tapped out to the ankle lock. Essentially, they're aiming it at casual fans and Ronda Rousey fans who don't necessarily watch wrestling. That's the issue we've got. Yes, Moxie. They're bad. Ronda's promos just have not delivered in any way, shape or form. It's just been bad. Now, for a draw segment, it's important that you don't just bring in viewers, but you also keep the ones you've already got. Raw historically went through a phase of losing more than 500,000 viewers between hour 2 and hour 3. Now, admittedly, hour 3 of Raw is a lot later than hour 2 of SmackDown, so there is that time element. But also, you know, that's a big number. At the time, it was a quarter of the audience. Nowadays, even more. You can't be doing that. Megan says, all this talk of things I can't have, like Rhea and Drew, is making me sad. I already have it bad from watching The Last Kingdom earlier. The Rhea and Drew versus Bianca and Big E match will be fire though, for sure. Sergio says, 1 hour into SmackDown, what do you think so far? It's been okay. The thing is, we've had one wrestling match in an hour. It was a good wrestling match, but it's one wrestling match. It's been a lot of recaps, and the promos by and large haven't been great outside of Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was great. It needs something else to get it firing though. It definitely does. We're getting a Lita hype package. Is Lita getting an award or? Oh, it's a Women's History Month thing. Fair enough. I like that. As they go through a whole lot more names, that's good. I like that. Simon says, what's the main event with no Roman there? Probably Sasha. At least I'm hoping Sasha. Logically, if Sasha's not the draw segment, she should be the main event segment. Right? And we can all agree on that. Wolfgamer says we should name the trio of Sheamus, Ridge and Butch as a hard fighting lads. One thing we can be confident of is that these three men are hard. At all times, they are hard. They never go soft. They are only ever hard. They are still sweetening Ronda's audio. In a big way, they are still sweetening Ronda's audio. Ghost says I would bring back mixed match challenges for Scottish Brutality, somebody work on the name, versus a great EST power in the finals. Shout out to Kurt Angle. Respect where you come from. Megan also says mixed match challenger was mint. It was. Didn't bring in the viewership that they wanted, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And isn't that all you really need? Simon says, do you see they maybe add Nikki Doudrop, make the women's tag team a 5-way match? No, because there were only 4 corners on the ring. So where are they going to stand? It's a little logistical thing, but it is a thing. Charlotte, as always, looks absolutely badass. Jermaine says, we all know they're aiming at the casuals, but the problem is most casuals know this stuff already. Now this is just sad. I don't think most casuals know that Charlotte's already tapped out. I don't think they do. At the very least, they can't remember. But everyone on Twitter will remind them. The furry arm seems unnecessary. Like, I'm sure that would have been me if not for the fact that my mother eventually told me to stop, you know? Ghost says, I would rather have mixed match challenge than Corey and Carmella. No hate to them, but yeah, it's not great. Well, to be fair, Corey and Carmella could feature in the mixed match challenge. I feel like it'd be a good reintroduction for everyone involved. Justin says, long live Butch. Long live Butch indeed. I like that the name is working. Like, nobody's angry at the concept of Butch. Sean says, is Kurt not on good terms with WWE? He isn't in 22 and not a part of Ray's showcase. He's on fine terms with the WWE. He's on absolutely fine terms. They just didn't want to pay to use his likeness. Slightly different situation with Kurt Angle's contract. Simon says, did Carmella ever make Charlotte tap to the code of silence? Nope, she always beat Charlotte with super kicks. Jermaine says, what we need is to have Sasha main event, have it in a multiple tag team brawl. I suspect that may be exactly what's going to happen. Charlotte refusing to accept that she was tapped, despite the tapping. Charlotte accusing Ronda Rousey of taking advantage of her. Charlotte is talking a big game. She will not be succeeding. You lose a bit of fire from Ronda's promos. As soon as there's someone across the ring from her, she calms down. Yeah, I'm definitely going to tap you out. Show me some intensity. Show me something, you know? A you tapped out chant, which Charlotte is helping. Simon says, not a Charlotte fan at all, but my god, she looks absolutely stunning and fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you love Charlotte Flair or not, you have to respect that this woman, absolute Amazonian goddess, always looks incredible. Justin Stevens says, New Day with Woods back versus Sheamus, Butch and Holland at Mania. That is exactly what I'm expecting as well, Justin. We're just waiting on an update about what happened with Big E. John says, Ronda had good promos of Alexa. Not that hard. Alexa is one of the best talkers in wrestling. Charlotte's getting that. She's stopped caring a little bit. And that's been very good for Charlotte. She's been scripted a lot less. Ghost says Charlotte can't really say anything about winning at WrestleMania. Both her and Ronda lost to Becky when it counted the most, or whatever they say in promos. They make up whatever the hell they want, let's be fair. And Jermaine says, I'm sorry for all the Charlotte fans out there, even though their match at Survivor Series a few years back was good, it was not as good as Sasha versus Ronda. The match felt and looked real. I've watched that one recently as well. One hell of a match. Great fun to watch as many times as you want. Charlotte doing the uh-oh. I'm surprised people didn't start chanting that back at her. Because this is one thing I can say. She managed to get that over, and I still don't entirely believe it. This is just pure smugness. If she can. To be clear, at WrestleMania, Charlotte can walk away. I feel that needs to be said. We need to respect the fact that what you just said, Ronda, not true. To be clear, at WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair absolutely can walk away from Ronda Rousey. Maybe don't give her ideas. We seem like we're about to go back into another recap. We're going back into a recap of the beginning of this show. Less than an hour ago we saw this. Less than an hour ago. Justin says, who would have thought Butch would be on Mania while Bliss is in catering? She's not in catering, mate. She's at home. She was never planned for WrestleMania. Ghost says, what would you say is the best Ronda Rousey match so far? I really liked Rousey versus Charlotte, gotta be honest. I think she's got a pretty good repertoire. None of them were Alexa, none of them were Nia Jax. It definitely comes down to either against Charlotte or against Sasha. It had a conclusive finish, so I'd probably go Sasha. Simon says, do you see Mox Danielson becoming the next AEW World Tag Team Champions with Regal as their manager? Yeah, I see no reason why not to do that. It sounds like a solid idea with no real downside. Well, Sasha Banks is not main eventing. Sasha Banks is on her way to the ring as we speak. Michael Cole very much enjoying saying what time it is. In case you're not aware, it's boss time. Naomi this week coming down to the ring to Sasha Banks' theme. Trading places from last week as expected. Sean said ESPN rated Alexa versus Ronda at Hell in a Cell in 2018 a 1.5 star match. I thought it was much better than that. This made me stop liking ESPN. The two just didn't have chemistry. They just didn't. Sergio says, are you doing live stream for Raw? They've been doing solid shows so far. I am not regularly doing live watch-alongs for Raw, though I will be doing them at some point in the future. If at some point I'm able to go full-time, I'll certainly be doing live streams for Raw. I cannot do that at the moment. I will be doing the Raw after Mania. That's the next time I'm going to be doing a live Raw watch-along. Sean says, Sasha now then, who's the main event? Usos? Something about the Usos? I'm not sure. Justin says, Nakamura loses titles and now rides in trucks. Yeah, it's, if the truck's free, then by all means, but I don't think it was. I don't really want him to pay for his own truck, you know? It just seems cruel. Oh, yes. Yes, good call, Justin, mentioning Zayn versus Ricochet. That certainly seems main event worthy. Jermaine says, way to call it, Tom. WWE made some changes. We get Sasha and Naomi versus Natalya and Shayna. We do indeed. Not a surprise to me that they are still trying to build that eventual match. That's the whole point. Simon says, Naomi cosplaying as Sasha with the blueprint rings. Absolutely love it. Much as Sasha did with the balls last week. I like it. Wolfgamer says, still no update on the WWE Championship that Brock tossed into the third row. Haven't seen that in a while. Simon, what Jermaine is referencing is that we actually talked about Natalya and Shayna Baszler being added to the Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania earlier on in Spoiler Warning. This was before it was reported by Fightful. And Ghost says, considering I'm going to WrestleMania, pretty nervous to see how this is going to turn out. Way too many last minute plans are happening. I agree, they don't seem to really know what they're going for It's a problem. Right, as we have just rounded out our first hour, I'm going to have me a brief commercial break. Basically, I'm just going to go into my break screen for a couple of minutes, get myself a new drink, pop to the bathroom, and then I will be back in just a couple of moments. Thank you very kindly, everyone watching. I will see you very shortly, and see you in a couple of moments. Welcome back, everyone. We are currently watching Shayna Baszler and Natalya versus Naomi and Sasha Banks. Carmella and Zelina Vega are sat at ringside. They are not on commentary, but I imagine will shortly be distracted by Corey Graves. That was a brutal Michinoku driver by Natalya. A win here for Natalya and Shayna Baszler probably means they're getting added to that tag team championship match. Big opportunity, because I'm not so sure Sasha Banks is going to be winning anymore, I'll tell you that. Ugh. Well, they just referred to Shayna Baszler as a joint manipulator, which I don't think is fair now that you've got Butch in play. Sergio says, Zayn versus Ricochet in the main event would definitely put some respect on the Intercontinental Championship, which is needed. And I think that's absolutely fair. Megan is annoyed they didn't show Shayna's entrance, which is also fair. Sean says, Big E is trending number 4. Good, it means people care. And people should. Dominic Perez says, Tom, is there going to be one world champion and is there a Shayna push? There isn't a Shayna push now, but there will be. Ronda Rousey is there now and she wants to make sure Shayna gets some attention. When it comes to one world champion, yes, there will be one unified champion. How long that'll last, I don't know. Megan says, this can't be right. Just checked and this is Shayna's first TV match of 2020. She was in the Rumble, but that's it. When was it that Shayna and Sasha opened the show? I swear that was January. I don't know. Mogsy says, do you reckon Dolph Ziggler will sign a new contract? As apparently his ends in the next month. I doubt he will be the NXT champion now if his contract ends in the next month. I doubt it. Shayna just ran into an attack from Naomi. Oh, are we expecting Natalya roll-up? Discus clothesline. She has used that in a finisher in the past. Sasha kicks out. December 3rd, 2021. Thank you there, Megan. Oh, as always, bringing the stats. Oh, Zelina lost her crown. Yeah, Sasha debuting that. Well, not debuting. I think we've seen that finisher before. I just think it's been a while. As Justin says, Sasha won, so maybe Natalya and Baszler might not be added. Maybe not. Maybe not. But still, maybe so. You know, WWE doesn't make a lot of sense. That was short. Shayna Baszler's first TV match of the year, and it lasted about 5 minutes. Oh, Pat. What's going on, Pat McAfee? Sergio says, would you consider this SmackDown a filler show so far? Yeah. Yeah, I would. It is a filler show. They're not trying very hard tonight, WWE. They're really not. We're now getting another recap from last week as we head into what looks like more build for the Usos versus Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Looks like that may end up being our Mania Tag Team Championship match. Viking Raiders moving on into the Battle Royal. The Usos are making their entrance. I doubt this is going to be for a match. Just a promo and an interruption by Rick Boogs is what I'm expecting. Justin says Rousey needs Sasha after Charlotte. Rousey needs a whole lot of people after Charlotte, let's be honest. She should just be running through everyone. There aren't many people on SmackDown for her to actually wrestle once they get past Sasha. I think Rousey and Naomi will be next, I'll tell you that. Mogsy says Sports Illustrated reported he signed a 2-year deal around this time 2 years ago. Yeah, and I'm sure we will find out soon they signed a new one. Right, so we're going to get a promo, but they're calling it Penitentiary Unlocked. How do they unlock it? That's literally the opposite of what they do. King Xander says Sasha should be facing Charlotte. Naomi should be facing Sonya. I like them as a team, but damn, I do not have the patience from July until April for one feud between Naomi and Sonya. I do not have patience for it. I haven't seen Sonya tonight. Maybe that's why it's crap. Megan says, I want my tag team ladder match. I will take an IC title ladder match though. Sadly, it no longer looks like we're getting either. It doesn't seem like we're getting either. When it comes to the IC title, I would say it's quite likely that Sami Zayn's going to win it back and take it into that match with Johnny Knoxville. And that Ricochet's push won't be what has been reported. But we'll see. I mean, that could just be WWE lulling me into a false sense of security. Sean says, would Dolph leave WWE if he wanted to? Yeah. He's got other stuff that he needs to do. Other stuff that he enjoys doing. He is a comedian. Justin says, unpopular opinion, but I think Naomi's overrated and I don't see anything special about her. I think she's a unique character who is able to provide things in ring that a lot of other women cannot. So she adds a lot to it for me. Megan says, WWE need to stop spoiling my fun. I know, right? WWE keep offering us things that are so exciting and then being like, yoink! It upsets me, you know? It upsets me. Jermaine says, hey Tom, do you think Brock Lesnar comes out and attacks the Usos? Remember he said he wants blood. Blood for blood. Well, that could work. By the sounds of it, he is still there. It'd be very good for Nakamura and Rick Boogs to literally be in the middle of a promo off with the Usos. Then Brock Lesnar comes from the crowd, beats the crap out of the Usos, and leaves. And Nakamura and Boogs are just stood there like, oh, we were doing something here. And then Boogs just starts playing Lesnar's theme. That'd work. And would probably work. Sergio says, these filler shows makes me want to see a brand split more and more, so we can have an all-around great show instead of filler because SmackDown roster is limited. The SmackDown roster is very limited at the moment, and it's creating a real problem. It's why we're seeing so many Raw superstars featured. Why we saw earlier on about Kevin Owens and the like. It is not working. WWE promoting their most watched Instagram clip in history. It's from a show that wasn't televised, so of course it is. Sean says, could the Glow character work as a heel, or would Naomi have a new character? We have seen a heel Naomi, curiously enough, in a tag team with Sasha Banks. There's potential there. Oh, Sean says, Cole said Brock has left the arena. Well, that's not happening then. They never think to really merge and weave different storylines together anymore, do they? I miss it. I miss it. August says, well, like you said, why would they give him the NXT title if he was not re-signing? Depends how temporary it is. It seems very likely that Braun Breaker's just going to win it back. Simon says, do you see Nakamura and Boogs versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles at Mania 38? I do now, yes. I think this is very last minute booking. Only really came out of the woodwork last week, but it seems like the only logical move now that everyone else is engaged elsewhere. Viking Raiders have been beaten. The New Day are busy. Los Lotharios are heels. Nakamura and Boogs are the only real choice. Sean says, would Nakamura and Boogs win the belts? Maybe? I don't know. I don't even know how long ago they decided to actually have the feud. Boogs referring to Nakamura's tag team partner. Seems very clear where we're headed with this. Has Nakamura won the tag titles? He's won the US, he's won the IC. I don't think he's won the tag. Yeah, this is all about that WrestleMania match. Wolf Gaming says, what I miss? Sasha beating up Natalya for like 5 minutes? Boogs and Nakamura? More recaps? Nothing great. SmackDown is decidedly average. Jimmy nearly forgot to say championships instead of champions, but got there right at the end. Great save by Jimmy. Ah, thank you, Sean. Yes, I remember that now. It was in a tables match, wasn't it? I always forget that he teamed with Cesaro. Genuinely always forget. So the story of this match is the Boogs' knee definitely isn't actually injured. So Jey Uso got baited there. This match ain't gonna last very long, is it? Boogs just physically dominating Jey Uso. Really showing off here. Wolfgamer says, had to get dinner, hence why I asked. Fair enough, mate. If there's other stuff you need to do, just go do it. This SmackDown is not... it's not a world beater. Wow, okay. Can I just say... Fucking hell, Boogs. That is incredible stuff. Oh, Shinsuke just been kicked on the outside. Mogsy says, so far Raw was actually better than SmackDown. Not a surprise. Raw's been better than SmackDown since the draft. Like, considerably. Oh, we're heading towards the finish. That's Boogs' finish. Jey Uso just got battered. And that's another WrestleMania match confirmed. With what seemed a clear build towards a six-man tag earlier, the card is starting to fill out. Bill's been terrible, but he's starting to fill out. Jermaine said... Oh, it was a guitar. Okay. Jermaine says you have to get SmackDown credit. They're really highlighting their tag team division. I agree, yeah. The SmackDown tag division is on fire. Sean says, imagine Shinsuke and Boogs' entrance at WrestleMania. Megan, much the same. Shinsuke and Boogs' entrance at Mania is going to be amazing. The longer the ramp, the harder they fall. Sometimes I hear myself and then regret saying anything. We've immediately gone into another recap. In fact, it's a recap of a recap we've already seen. We've already seen this recap today. This is not a good show. So it's another recap of the Ricochet victory to win the Intercontinental Championship last week, which is starting to look like the WWE might be about to retcon. Sergio says, last week and the week before were better SmackDowns. I agree. This is... emotionless? Nothing has room to breathe. It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And it's not making me care. Wolfgamer says, I missed the finish, looked away to eat, and it was over. There's been no long matches tonight. First match was 15 minutes, that was okay. Looks like our main event's going to be another 15. But still. Sergio says, looks like Zayn vs Ricochet is the main event. Roman was much needed tonight. Yeah. Just to give us a bit of extra entertainment. Because there hasn't been much entertainment tonight. Sorry guys, if you'll excuse me, I think I'm about to sneeze. I'm about to sneeze. I'm about to sneeze now. I do apologise. Simon says, really love Sasha's new awesome, really great finisher. A lot of adjectives in that. Now she can pin beat people to all the time as well, making wrestlers tap out to the bank statement. Yeah, that's an intentional thing for the Four Horsewomen recently. Becky had that a while back, and Bayley's also developed a submission move. Sean says, I hope Ricochet's reign isn't only a week. I agree. I think it will be. Let's find out. And Jermaine says, I still think they're going to add a fourth team to the women's tag match at WrestleMania. Me too. Me too. Maybe it wasn't Natalya Shayna, but I think there'll be more people coming. Miami Heat fans says, wait, WWE dropped the Sasha vs Zelina Vega match. They did. First it was changed to a tag match, Then it was changed to a different opponent for Sasha and Naomi. Ghost says, if you had to choose, excluding Brock and Roman, who is your favourite champion on the main roster? Becky. No question. I love Becky. Megan's saying something which I've seen from Megan before. Tell me you are wheel spinning without telling me you are wheel spinning. And I can't argue with that, Megan. I cannot argue. They are wasting time. Now, admittedly, we've been complaining recently about the fact that the actual push and not the push, that the build to WrestleMania has been weak, because it has been weak. So having a little bit extra, just having a little bit extra for everything is a good thing, you know? Everything was helped to develop. Everything was given an opportunity to grow. Everything was adding a little bit more just to help in the video packages and the like. But my god, the recaps. It's nothing but recaps. Ugh. They recap earlier in the actual show and it infuriates me. This is one of those shows that's literally written for people who's only going to be there for like this one show. If you just watch this one show, you're ready for WrestleMania because you know basically what's going on from all the damn recaps. Miami Heat fan says, I make the Women's Tag Team Championship match to a ladder match. I didn't actually consider that. I didn't consider the women's tag match could be a ladder match. But I like the idea. I do like it. Jermaine says, WWE just bring up Io, team her up with Asuka and call them the Kabuki Warriors 2.0. Io Shirai is planned to be called up relatively soon, by the sounds of it. And Sergio says, 5 minutes of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman makes this SmackDown not a complete disaster. Also, to be fair, Butch. I enjoyed having Butch. Sean says, should rename the show Recap Down. Smack Recap. Smack Recap. Smack Recap. Smack Recap. There's an opportunity there. Simon says, do you see them doing Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Team Bad tag team match next week? Probably, yeah. I think we're going to get there, considering that's now not the match we're getting at WrestleMania and they're on different brands. It's logical. Wolfgamer says SmackDown is home of the recaps. You're not wrong. And Mogsy just throws out fucking Butch. Megan said, I got some good news Twitch-wise. I'm now 28 followers, averaging 1.5 per stream, so affiliate is getting closer. Great news, Megan. Great news. Megan, by the way, if you'd like to pitch while we've got people in the chat, by all means, you jump straight in and you go do that. For anyone who doesn't know, Megan is a streamer, has been streaming games like The Sims and Unpacking recently. Is looking into WWE 2K at some point soon. And if you enjoy that, please do remember to give her a follow. Jump in the channel every now and then and say hi, because Megan is getting closer and closer to affiliate and that little bit of pay that you can get when you get there. Juega Matute 250 has followed over on Twitch. Thank you kindly for that. Ooh, next Friday, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns collide. Ooh. Jermaine says Ronda Rousey is going to run through the heel side. As far as the women go for SmackDown before SummerSlam. Yeah, that's what I expect as well. And then at that point, they'll draft her and move her across to Raw. Megan says, I just want some kind of ladder match because I'm kind of missing them. Yeah, I would expect so. I really hope we're going to get one. I don't really care which match it is. Just give me one. Sean says, since Io is expected to be called up, do you see her and Kaylee Ray losing the Dusty Classic to Dakota and Wendy? Personally, I do. I feel they want to push Wendy Chu, and I feel Dakota Kai ain't going nowhere. Juega says, bro, do you know something about Big E? They say they took him to the emergency hospital. I know nothing yet. I've received a message about him going to be checked out. Beyond that, I've had no update. As soon as I have something, I'll post it on Twitter. The Chad says, I can't wait to see the whole cast of Jackass versus Sammy at Mania, with Bam turning his back on Knoxville with Sami winning. I mean, it's not an impossibility. That sounds like fun. Sergio says, Roman and Brock next Friday is going to be a better show. I hope so. I really do hope so. We have an Austin Theory. He's bringing his phone, but not a microphone. This is interesting. He seems to have locked eyes with Pat McAfee. Doesn't seem interested in the actual wrestling match, which is apparently still going ahead. There is going to be some drama outside the ring now. This is catching my attention. Megan says, I just ramble while I play games, working my way through Mass Effect Legendary Edition and some Sims 4 challenges right now, hoping to do the Valhalla DLC and 2K22 at some point, but I need to work out some storage issues first on console and PC. The Chad said, what's the theory of Austin coming out anyway? Well, the theory is, rumour has it, it's got something to do with Pat McAfee. Ricochet looks fantastic with that championship, I just want to point that out. Pat McAfee very unhappy to have Austin Theory sat next to him. Go says, as we are 3 weeks to Mania, they really need to start getting Hall of Fame inductees announced immediately. Considering tonight was boring, would have made sense if somebody was announced today. In order to announce people, they need people to stop saying no. That's the difficulty they're having. Logically, the issue between Austin Theory and Pat McAfee gives them a way to essentially have Ricochet lose without it being his fault. Because these two are about to start scrapping. Go on, Pat! His punches are a lot better than Shane's. Sami Zayn just stood in the ring like, what? McAfee just keeps jumping on the table and it is so consistent with his character. I love it. We're going to get another commercial break before the actual match starts, aren't we? Michael Cole splitting them up. You are a pro, dude. That is fact. Big cheer for Pat McAfee. That was the right call. They pulled a blinder there. They pulled a blinder. I swear I recognise that security guard. Pat McAfee's been escorted away. Something's going on with that commentary desk. Austin Theory got a bit of a graze there. Austin Theory trying to get to McAfee. McAfee really should just go back to ringside. And we have another commercial break before the Intercontinental Championship match, which means that at most we're going to get about 15 minutes. Simon says, imagine a 6-man tag team match on the last episode of SmackDown before Mania. Nakamura, Boogs and Lesnar versus a Bloodline. That would be fun. Absolutely would. I imagine Lesnar has a lot of respect for Boogs, let's be honest. Megan says, well, that escalated quickly. It did, didn't it? It really did. Moxie says, who do you think will win, Pat or Austin? Austin Theory. This is for Austin Theory. The original plan for Theory was Shane McMahon. Austin Theory would have been winning that as well. Chad says, Pat with a swan dive. You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. Every time he leapt off that table, it was just a case of really crouch down, like, ah! It just looks sometimes like he's a scared red panda. When they're scared, they just sort of go. The pandas are really cute. Wolfgamer says, fight, 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 fight. And Sergio says, milking as much time as possible to get through this show. To be fair, that was kind of the best part of the show so far. Ghost says, and Pat's leaving ringside. No, it's true. It's true. Jermaine saying great news to Megan, who, as we did mention, is getting a little bit closer to affiliate on Twitch. If you can follow, please do consider doing so. And Megan says, imagine if the table had broke when Pat launched himself over it. I remember when Montez Ford was wrestling Roman Reigns in the main event of a SmackDown. And Montez Ford was going to jump on the table to then jump off the table onto Roman, but the table just collapsed. Just collapsed. Good times. Sean says, still wish it was Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. Then Pat McAfee needs to leave WWE. The chat says, I thought it was Gase. That's it. That's who I thought it was. And the chat said, is Pete done with NXT 2.0? He is not. He just had a main roster call-up. He's officially with SmackDown. That is an official call-up. That is not temporary. Pete Dunne is full-time with SmackDown. I should probably actually announce that. I got that the DM. That was genuinely my highlight of the show so far. Not great. They have not replaced Pat McAfee on SmackDown. That surprises me. I expected they'd send someone out, but I'm not sure who they would actually send. Who are the good guy talkers that they have? McAfee has been escorted out of the building. Oof. Sergio says, if you had the chance to book one match at Mania, what match would you make? Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. Just imagine that for a moment. Just imagine that for a moment. Talking in their primes, but imagine that for a moment. Wolfgamer says, WWE needs to get those New Japan tables. Those mofos don't break for much. They do not. If you do not hit them just right, you just keep going. I still remember Tetsuya Naito being DDT'd by Chris Jericho on one of those. He just did a proper stand on his head for a while because there was no way around it. And Chad says, I like Breaker on Raw. Nice surprise there. It was. It was. The call-ups coming just before WrestleMania has been beneficial. Oh, Sean, Vic Joseph, good call. He'll be backstage for Level Up as well, won't he? Wolfgang wants to send Hook. Oh, sorry, no, wait, wrong copy. Sergio says some people are already leaving the arena to beat traffic. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing it. If you're going to leave, surely the last point at which you'd leave is Sami Zayn versus Ricochet. Mate, Ricochet's in the main event of SmackDown. This is positive. Even if he does lose the championship, this is a good position to be in. Michael Cole talking about TMZ again. I wonder if there's a sponsorship happening. There is a Ricochet chant going on in the crowd. Very good for the guy. There is going to be another commercial break before we get to the end. I'm enjoying seeing Ricochet's frustration at that clothesline. He's not happy about something. Like, he's genuinely not happy about something. What is that on Michael Cole's desk right in front of him? That camera? We've got a nice wide view of the arena and it doesn't look like many people are leaving. Sean says, people leaving. Oh boy, Dave will probably report about that like he report fans left during a Charlotte Alexa segment. Yeah, that just wasn't true. It just plain wasn't true. Based on what William Regal said earlier as well, Dave Meltzer ain't exactly getting double sources on this. All the more reason I find it frustrating when I report news 2 or 3 weeks ahead and I can't get any airtime on it because somebody has decided I'm not good enough. I do like how the narrative has changed though. People don't dare call me a liar anymore because anytime they do, I just point them to this YouTube channel. And there are, well, there's over a year now of solid news reporting. So they can't call me a liar anymore. So what they do now is they try and call me lazy, say I'm not working hard enough to get my name out there. How about fuck you? How about that? That's all I got really. Sorry, I went off on one there. I soapboxed a little bit. I get frustrated. Mogsy says, I suppose Cole doesn't need any help. He's carrying himself very well at the moment. As we head into our final commercial break, yeah, Michael Cole is there. He's doing the job very well. Chad says, everyone would love Prince Puma, he says, in the WWE. Prince Puma would be a lot of fun. We don't quite have that at the moment, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? If that was an option available to us, a Prince Puma. I really enjoyed his work in Lucha Underground. Just a lot of fun. Mogsy says, didn't he do the show on his own when Jerry had a heart attack? He did. Michael Cole is very, very talented. Very, very talented. He is, I believe, the best that the WWE have, and the best that they've had for a long time. After recently watching AEW Revolution, I missed Michael Cole. Ghost says, this is a question for everyone as we go to commercial, so feel free to answer. If you could have 2 comedy characters from any era interact, who would it be? Personally, I would go for R-Truth and Jillian Hall. Now, to be clear, one of these isn't infamously a comedy character, but if you electrocute Shane McMahon's balls, you're a comedy character. Kane, the gobbledygooker. Can't tombstone it. You can't tombstone it. It's got a massive neck. You can't tombstone it. What are you going to do? Can't chokeslam it. You're just going to miss the entire neck. You're just going to be stroking it. It's going to be... Good luck to you. Sergio says, Brock, Boogs, Nakamura versus the Bloodline is a great idea. Brock wins the match, then gets put through the table as the Bloodline stands tall. A lot of good options there. Simon says, Mandy Rose has improved so much, all the credit in the world to her. She's a great wrestler now. She's always been good. Like, she's always been good. We didn't really get an opportunity to see that until the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match. That's when that was the coming out party for both her and Sonya Deville. But naturally in NXT right now, where she's leading a team, where she's just delivering that little bit more, expectations were high when she went to NXT, and she has over-delivered. She was already promising high, but she is over-delivered. Wolf Gamer says, I would love to see Prince Puma versus Ricochet. Dream match, mate. Dream match. Absolute dream match. In response to Ghost, Sean says Billy Kay and R-Truth. There are some interesting options, aren't there? Billy Kay definitely constitutes a comedy character. You could also go like Billy Kay Santino Marella. Is it Marella? No, he's Italian, isn't he? Marella. Maria, that would be Spanish. I need to work on my Spanish more. I'm getting bad now. They're still calling it stupendous. They're trying to own the word, and they're going to succeed. No, come on. We're getting a recap of what just happened with Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. There's an Intercontinental Championship match happening, and you're showing a recap. Oh, that's infuriating. As good as the Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory segment was. Do we need it to be recapped less than 10 minutes later when there is an active Intercontinental Championship match ongoing? I vote no. Wolfgamer is suggesting Johnny Swinger and R-Truth. Always R-Truth. A lot of people liking the R-Truth. The match this week is about as high paced as it was last week as well. Both men going for it. Always nice to see. Always nice to see. Sami Zayn can't really get a firm grip on Ricochet. He's a bit too wriggly. Very nearly gets the free with the same move that he did last week. I don't know how this is going to go. I did not expect Ricochet to win last week. They could essentially just click reset at this point. Ghost says what Cole just said about repercussions as a broadcaster makes me wonder if this is a one-time match for Pat or if some implications will be announced within the week. Certainly something of interest. I don't see them taking McAfee off commentary on SmackDown, but he certainly could wrestle a few more matches. Sergio says, honestly, 4 out of 10 SmackDown. Brock, Pat McAfee were the only bright spots. I liked Butch. I did. I still wouldn't give it more than a 5 or a 6. Like, this match is okay. Oh, caught him in a blue Thunderbomb. That is lovely. Simon says, Chelsea Green woke to a broken wrist, suffered at the taped Impact last night, winning 8-woman tag alongside Mickey and The Inspiration. That woman is always injured. And she got Brill Bone and nobody's told her. Mogsy said, it's nice to see Ricochet in a main event slot. Absolutely it is. The crowd are behind the guy. He's currently at least the Intercontinental Champion, and he's in the main event of SmackDown. These are all good things. These are all very good things. Now, I do believe Johnny Knoxville, is he there? I don't believe he is. I don't believe he is. But there's no Pat McAfee, so something's going on. I don't see Ricochet losing clean if he does lose. Sean says, funny how R-Truth says John Cena is his childhood hero when R-Truth is 6 years older than John Cena. Yeah, that's R-Truth though, isn't it? Going for a Spanish fly. Oh, no superplex. Nicely delivered. Basically a Spanish fly without the backflip. I don't know if Sami Zayn's known for a moonsault. A lovely throw. Everyone loves a good throw. Wolfgamer says Green needs more vitamin D. Green? Oh, Green. Chelsea Green. I lost track of that briefly. Ricochet just hit one of his finishes. Ghost says, I mean, Pete did tweet out Butch, probably, so maybe there's a potential name change. Maybe. They did refer to it as a nickname rather than his actual name. Which is good. Means they can still make changes. A dodgy 630, but a 630 nonetheless. Sami Zayn lost. Nice and clean. That's 2 weeks in a row they've got me with that IC Championship. Solid push ongoing for Ricochet. Still 5 minutes left for it all to go wrong. But a solid push going on for Ricochet. Mogsy says Santino Morello, nope, Morella, was funny too. Depends what you're into, really. Bit of a Jeff Hardy 630, but he got there. I've got to give credit to Sammy there, because if he didn't lean forward as he did, Ricochet was going to land head first. Good match. Sean says, I guess the reports about a Ricochet push were right. Yeah, it seems so. Can't really argue with it. The man's the Intercontinental Champion. And that was solid. Something's going on backstage. Oh. Charlotte and Ronda. They're just having a bit of a pull-apart brawl. Nothing fancy. Ronda threw a security, well, an official I should say, into Charlotte, and I can't help but love that. What I like is that even held back, Ronda's still overpowering everybody. Is that our first sign of Adam? I can't see anything. This is filmed terribly. This is all Michael Bay. Sergio says this brawl feels forced. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Is Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey being produced by Michael Bay? Because I can't see a damned thing in these fight scenes. Charlotte with a new submission move there. I mean, I'm there for it. Go on, Charlotte. You expand that repertoire. Ghost says this is giving me a headache. Yeah, can't see shit. And Simon says, who's Ricochet going to face at WrestleMania 38? I'm not sure. I don't think the WWE is sure yet. Jermaine says, I don't think Ronda Rousey is turning heel until she gets drafted to Raw. So I don't think they're going to do a little swap like they did with Charlotte and Becky, though. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. That's pretty much exactly what I'm expecting. It is Charlotte in the end who stands tall as it were. Or at least as close as they can get when it comes to Ronda Rousey. So that's been SmackDown. It is 3 AM over here in the UK, so your Tom Colohue is about to go to bed. About to go to bed. Fair sure, no explosions. That's a shame. That is a shame. I don't think he's going to be facing Rollins, mate. I don't think so. Sergio says, 1 to 10 your rating for SmackDown. 5. Just a boring show. Not much actually happened. There was a couple of good moments, but nothing really newsworthy. If I hadn't watched it, I wouldn't have missed anything. But as everyone heads off to watch Rampage, I will say a big thank you to everyone who joined me, and I will start the wrap-up process. So, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. I will see you all on Sunday. Thank you very much for joining me.